It's Monday night. It's about said November. Wow, hot start. It's December 16th, 2024. Brand new episode of the Tan and J Man Show, episode 422. If you're keeping count at home, which I know you're not. I'm Tanner Lee. Across from me on the screen is Josh the J Man Mont. We're streaming on the ISC Sports Network, on the ISC Sports Network social media pages, as well as the Tan and J Man Show Facebook page. And if you're listening to this about 12 hours or so from now, make sure you're following us. Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast at. Give us a rating and a review. We really appreciate that. Only 3 episodes, including this one, left in 2024. Hard to believe.
What a year. Man, what a year. Has that gone fast? Holy cow.
I'm sure 2025 will be even faster. I mean, that's just how it goes, I guess.
Yep.
How we doing, Jay, man?
I'm doing all right. I got some Berry Bogey for you immediately.
Yes, I'm ready to get a bogey because neither one of us can ever get these right. So
it's an NFL question. You got to get all 5 of these to get anything.
Oh boy.
There are 5 active franchises without a 13-plus win season.
Ooh.
Can you name those 5 franchisees?
Ooh, 5 active franchises a really good question.
Without a 13-win or better season.
That's a good one.
So, 5 of them. I couldn't believe there was 5 of them.
No, that's wow.
Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. Arlington Public House is upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere, located 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. Their Friday night special this past weekend was an ultimate prime rib sandwich. Indulge in our ultimate prime rib sandwich. Tender, perfectly cooked prime rib piled high on a toasted artisan roll, topped with sweet caramelized onions, melted provolone cheese, tangy banana peppers, and a dollop of zesty horseradish cream sauce, served with a warm, savory cup of au jus for dipping, all for just $20. That sounds fantastic. I'm not a caramelized onion fan, but love banana peppers, love sweet peppers. Good stuff.
I had a banana pepper last week for the first time in my life. I was so on it. I'm trying to like it. I had it on a what did I have it on? Philly, I guess you call it a Philly cheesesteak sandwich from a company we won't name because there's no free ads.
No free ads.
I'll tell you off air.
I am more of a pepperoncini fan than I am banana pepper fan. I think pepperoncinis are a little better, but they're in the same ballpark. They're both yellow. That's about all I know about them.
They're both yellow, but prime rib's good. Prime rib,
love prime rib. Yeah,
good stuff. So we had a lot. We have a lot to talk about tonight. We got NFL, we got college hoops, we got Heisman Trophy since that's been handed out and awarded, and we got the college football playoff, the first 12-team one getting underway on Friday night. But let's give the NFL some time. I feel like we're kind of giving the NFL a time shortage every week lately.
Yeah, every week.
I feel like a lot to talk about because week 15 was pretty interesting around the league, and it's hard to believe we're down to 3 more weeks of the regular season.
It is wild. 3 winners, 3 losers. My first winner is the Buffalo Bills. Took it to Detroit. I think Detroit's injuries are starting to catch up with them a little bit, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
2 more guys today out for the season.
Did they say David Montgomery's out for the year because he got banged up? And they said
Montgomery and then their defense tackle McNeil.
Yeah, they have a lot of injuries. Montgomery's a rough one because he's kind of their closer. I mean, he's a big bruising back that can get you a few yards and get a first down to seal the game. But Bills, I've been saying it since probably week 4, maybe, that they're the best team in the AFC, and they have done nothing to sway my mind when it comes to that.
They still probably won't get the 1 seed, so they still probably won't have home field advantage.
I would say it's very unlikely they get the 1 seed, but I think they're quite a bit better team than Kansas City and would have no problem going into KC and playing them. I mean, they've played in the playoffs about every year, it feels like. So,
yeah, it's interesting because you would think they want the elements to be bad for home field advantage, but at the same time, that could backfire on them.
Definitely.
So, I mean, it's interesting, but you get Josh Allen in a neutral, weathered environment, or environment like yesterday where there's no weather at all since it's indoors, and he usually balls out pretty well.
Yeah, he was ridiculous yesterday. Some of the throws he made. There was one. It was since they started tracking these sort of stats, it was the quickest 50-yard air travel completion that they've seen so far. It was like in the air 2.7 seconds. That's it. And he just lasered it from 50
Yeah,
yards.
he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's not turning the ball over this year because that was his one bugaboo. Is he was,
Right.
leading the league in turnovers the past like 4 or 5 seasons, and this year he's not doing that, and he's without the Stephon Diggs. And I kind of bought into I think Stephon Diggs kind of made him. No, I think it was the exact opposite, and we see Diggs is kind of a head case in Houston. He was a head case in Minnesota, clearly a head case in Buffalo. So I think. Josh Allen, for the first time, is not worried about I got to get Diggs the ball, got to give him the ball. He's going to start whining, got to give him the ball. And he's just spreading the wealth and playing the best football of his career so far. And I hate how much I like him.
He is very fun to watch. If you have a good quarterback like him, you don't need a bona fide number one wide receiver. And because more times than not, bona fide wide receivers, number one wide receivers are divas. Yeah. They can cause problems in locker rooms. So,
I mean,
they're better off without them.
Brady had Randy Moss, but then after that, he didn't have anyone.
Nope.
Like he had Edelman and Amendola and Chris Hogan. He was throwing the ball.
Wes Welker for a while. Gronk.
He did have Gronkowski, which I guess could be your number one, but he just didn't seem like the diva type either.
And Peyton had Marvin. Marvin wasn't a diva when it comes to football.
He was quiet. Yeah.
He was quiet. Off the field, he had issues. But like guys like Reggie Wayne, I think Peyton made Reggie Wayne.
I completely agree.
Alice Clark, definitely guys like Brandon Stokely, more role players. That's what the good ones do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, my first winner is Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I did not think they'd go into LA and win 40-17. And the Chargers had a lead at one point, I think 17-10. Then Baker just took over. Man, I know he's not going to win it, but he should be in the MVP conversation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, he was finding old man Mike Evans out there making plays, and I would not want to play Tampa in the playoffs. They got that firepower that they can unleash on you.
Yeah, Baker's another guy that he got out of a bad situation in Cleveland, and he probably revived his career in that weird year where he was at Carolina, and then they released him, and he had to start for the Rams on a Thursday night after getting there on like a Tuesday.
Yep.
And played halfway decent for Sean McVay, and he got an opportunity with Tampa.
100%.
Obviously played it into a big deal. But he's playing some good football, and they're doing it without Chris Godwin. They're an understated team that no one's really talking about them in the NFC. Nope. And I wouldn't want to especially have to go there because they will host a playoff game, assuming they don't fold here at the end of the season. So they're playing. That's a good one. My second winner, Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, they were impressive last night.
Yeah, that's a really good Seattle defense too. It's
another team I wouldn't want to play. Is Green Bay in the playoffs?
I think they're the second best team in the NFC. I mean, I don't see anyone else.
They're not flashy,
no,
but they're good.
And Jordan Love's playing some good football, and LaFleur there. He's obviously a very, very good offensive mind and a very good head coach, and they're another team that they won't host a playoff game unless of course somehow the 6 or 7 seed makes it all the way to the championship game. But they will be a team that I think will knock off either the Rams or the Bucs, and probably the Rams at this point should they end up winning that division.
Yeah, I think Seattle's done, especially if Geno's banged up. Sam Howell can't get it done, and they've overachieved. Let's be honest.
Yeah, definitely.
My number 2 is the Philadelphia Eagles. They won the battle for Pennsylvania yesterday, 27-13. And now they're knocking on the doorstep for that 1 seed.
Yeah.
If Detroit slips up, which they're very injured, they might. They're rolling right now. So I thought it would be a closer game. I thought the Eagles would win, but I thought Pittsburgh would give them more of a challenge, and wasn't the case yesterday at all.
Yeah, I mean, this. I haven't bought the Steelers all year. They did clinch a playoff spot yesterday, but the Eagles have played really good here the past 6 or 7 weeks, and I know Hurts got a little banged up, but he should be okay. My final winner is the LA Rams. going into San Francisco. It's weird out there in San Francisco. You have a linebacker quitting on the team before the game, and just saying I'm not playing. And then I think Brock Purdy has lost himself a ton of money this year. I wouldn't feel comfortable giving him a second deal, especially if it's in the hundreds of millions, like it likely would be, or like they were talking even before the season. Deebo Samuel's had a terrible year. He dropped some real bad potential touchdown catches on Thursday, scored 6 points. And I think it's starting to get late there for Kyle Shanahan as well. I know they just went to a Super Bowl, but I think the league's kind of catching up with him a little bit.
It might be one of those things where a change of scenery would do him good, but because I think if he was to get fired by the Niners, he'd have a new job in a day.
No, for sure.
I don't know where that would be right now, but it would be somewhere. I mean, I do think he's still one of the better coaches in the NFL, and they've been very injured this year. But I think his seat could be a little warm going into next year. I'll put it that way. So assuming they stay healthy. So, my last winner, I'm going Homer here. I'm going the Denver Broncos because they finally, for the first time since 2016, no matter what happens in the last 3 games, clinched a winning season.
Yeah.
They have not had a winning record since 2016.
And
so
their magic number's 1, right?
Yes. 91% chance to make the playoffs now. If they would have lost yesterday, it would have fell to 50. And the Colts, who have a 7% chance, if the Colts would have won yesterday, their percentage would have been 53. They literally would have jumped the Broncos because their schedule come down the stretch. So it was sloppy out of the offense. I could only catch highlights of the game, and then I actually watched the replay of the game today. But sloppy on offense. Bo Nix threw 3 picks, but he also threw 3 touchdowns. Defense got it done when they needed to, especially in the second half, and shut down Anthony Richardson. And I'll talk about him in a bit. But they took care of business after coming out flat. And what all the announcers were saying, this is the biggest Broncos game in almost a decade because it just was that important with everything coming down the stretch. So got it done 31-13, and I get to have bragging rights over a lot of my Colts friends for a year at least. So.
Yeah, they're all probably Notre Dame and IU fans too, so that'll probably be nice.
Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. Yeah. Very true. So first loser for me. Let's see here. Crud. Man, there's none that really stick out to me. How about how about Dan Campbell?
Yeah.
I appreciate the aggressiveness and the guts, but sometimes you're just being dumb.
Yeah.
I know they couldn't stop the Bills, but doing the onside kick at that time and point in the game when he did, that killed him. And that return on the onside kick killed him. I would not be shocked if he does something stupid in the playoffs and it cost him.
Yeah. I love the aggressiveness 90% of the time, but sometimes there's, time and place for that. There was 12 minutes left. You don't know what's going to happen. Bills could fumble. And anything could happen. You kick that thing away. You're only down 10. You get one stop. You go down, score. You're down 3. I know you had a hard time stopping them all game, but put a little bit of more faith in your defense, maybe, and they come up with a play.
Yep.
But it about backfired against the Green Bay Packers, going for it on 4th and 1 a couple Thursdays ago. And could backfire definitely in the playoffs. It kind of did last year too in San Francisco. My first loser is the Indianapolis Colts. Both the Broncos and the Colts season changed when Jonathan Taylor did not just carry the ball into the end zone.
100%.
Why
guys do that blows my mind. Like, just tuck it till you're in the back of the end zone. I mean, I just don't understand.
Should he have held on to that thing? I think it would have been tough for Denver to come back.
I agree.
They would have made it. I assume they would have gone for 2 to try to make it a 14-point game. And it was third quarter too, wasn't it?
Early in the third, yeah.
So they start having to throw the ball a lot more. And Nix, again, he'd already thrown a couple picks. Maybe he starts forcing it in there a little bit. But just carry that stupid thing to the sideline. I don't understand. I will never understand that. So
and then not only that, then they're trying a double pass.
Yeah.
which Nick Bonito read and picked off. And then the wide receiver wouldn't own up to the mistake after the game. Anthony Richardson, I don't know what the Colts do with him. He's a good athlete, but he can't throw the ball accurately.
No.
When's
the last time we've seen like a starting quarterback that's pretty much been the starter the entire season have a completion percentage under 50% on the year? Because he came into the game 47%. That is putrid.
The only guy I can think of, and he was a start. I don't even. Was he started for probably a little over half the year? Yeah, he was. It was Tim Tebow. That's the only guy that comes to my mind.
Yeah. Great athlete. They chose him because he had these incredible traits, but sometimes you're just not a good quarterback. And he started the game, I think it was like 8 for 22, 5 of 17, something like that. And he is, they can't roll with him coming into the season because I think they're a talented enough roster. I mean, again, they're in a position to, if they would have won that game, to make the playoffs. And
they do this almost every year, though, Josh.
I know. Have
it's the Chris Ballard way.
Halfway decent quarterback play. I think they'd probably, at least be more in the convo.
You and I both know it's hard to find a quarterback. And, they had Manning, then Luck. Now they're kind of in quarterback purgatory, and they might be good. It might do them well to just tear it all down, build it back up.
Yeah.
Because they keep putting Band-Aids over bullet holes, and it's not working.
And if that is the case, then they need to find a new GM to do it.
Oh, 100%.
Ballard can't do it.
I got text from 3 Colts fans after the game yesterday said Ballard's got to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Steichen probably hot seat, but probably gets another year.
The problem is you don't want to saddle a new GM with a head coach, and you also don't want to saddle, a new head coach or a head coach with a new GM either.
Right.
It just makes it awkward and
kind of the college thing with ADs that are close to retiring, new head coaches, sort of thing. So, oh gosh, I don't even know who to pick for my other losers. I'm going to put the Panthers as a loser because I put 6 points on them that they'd win. They let Cooper Rush play pretty darn good against them and beat them.
Cowboys are still kind of in it somehow,
aren't they? I mean, they've. I'm not saying Cooper Rush is going to unseat Dak, but he's played better than I thought he was going to, and they've played better than I thought they were going to. But I'm struggling to pick losers this week just because a lot of these teams were expected to lose that loss.
Right. So. I'm going homer pick here with the Dolphins because they are 1-. I think McDaniel, since he got there, is 1-17 against playoff teams.
No kidding. Holy smokes.
It's miserable. Now, the crazy thing is, and I'm not trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, almost all those dang games are on the road. They've barely played any good teams at home, and it's kind of skewed it a little bit. But Tua was off yesterday. He had only turned it over once in the 7
Don't throw it to Stingley's way.
It
dude's a hell of a corner.
That's the problem, though, with trying to force it into Tyreek.
Yeah.
And Tyreek has been terrible in big games, and I kind of wish they wouldn't have even signed him to an extension at this point because he's just not the same player. Defense did their job. They held the Texans to under 200 yards total offense. Just the offense they missed an extra point for one.
I thought that was going to cost you guys when he missed it. I'm like, that's 2 weeks in a row, right? He's missed one?
It is, and both were on bad snaps, but still, the ball got there in time to at least readjust. He drilled like a 57-yarder earlier. I don't get that. But the turnovers kill. I mean, Tua turned over 4 times. He only turned it over once in the previous 7 weeks.
Yeah.
They were playing down their top 4 tackles against the team that was second in the league in sacks, and it showed. It was so bad. But they're done. If they would have won, though, they would have only been a game behind the Chargers. But they didn't. So, so they're done, and I get to move on, which is kind of nice, honestly.
What? And I know we could talk about this in 3 or 4 weeks, but what do you think Chris Greer's got at tackle in the offseason?
He needs to look for a new job.
Assuming he keeps his job.
It's very, very clear it's offensive line. He came into the season in his, preseason press conference very arrogant. He's like, you guys are the only ones worried about this offensive line. I have no worries at all, which I don't think he's going to say, man, our offensive line stinks.
Yeah.
But still, he was super arrogant about it. and you have Liam Eichenberg out there. Notre Dame is known for putting out great offensive linemen. Somehow the Dolphins took the worst one in the history of the NFL from Notre Dame. He's terrible. He's relied too much on very injured older players like Teron Armstead. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame level tackle when he's healthy, but that's the issue. He's been healthy maybe 60% of the time since he's been there. Interior offensive line's been bad, which means they can't run the ball anymore. It's just a very soft team, and it's something's got to change. I don't think they'll fire McDaniel, and I don't really want them to because Tua's been very good in the system. But again, the whole can't beat good teams thing is starting to rear its ugly head once again.
Sure.
So,
my last loser, I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns. They held the Chiefs to 21 points at home, but they lost 21-7, and Jameis threw 3 picks, and finally they benched him. I mean, he's fun to watch if you're not a Browns fan, but man, he's just too aggressive at times, and throwing balls is like, dude, you just need to get some points. What are you doing? And Patty Mahomes in that game gets a high ankle sprain, which is something to keep a close eye on because that's worse than a low ankle sprain. Yeah. So
every year about this time he gets banged up, and then it's a whole miracle. Oh man, he's a warrior. He's fighting through. I think it's a PR stunt. He
did get bent up pretty bad yesterday.
I did see it, but he just can't stand not having attention on him. Yeah. My final loser is the Tennessee Titans.
They're terrible.
They're going to be in the market for a quarterback. Giants are going to be in the market for a quarterback.
Raiders probably.
Raiders are going to be in the market for a quarterback. Who else could be in the market for?
Maybe the Saints.
Saints should be in the market. I've never been a Carr guy, and you know that. But again, he didn't play yesterday.
Jets, if Rodgers isn't back.
Jets should be for sure. I think that might be about it.
Maybe Seattle. Maybe
Seattle probably should. I think Geno's solid, but I don't think he's ever going to go.
Rams should be smart and get somebody to replace Stafford eventually.
Definitely. It'll be interesting because Sean McVay every year, it's like, is he going to retire or is he going to do TV? What's he going to do? So they're kind of in a holding pattern there. But Titans. Will Levis bad. Mason Rudolph is better, but I understand why they want to continue to see if they have anything in Levis, and I think we've seen enough at this point.
Yeah, he's been given more than a fair chance. Fair chance. And the Bengals are one of the oddest teams I've ever seen in NFL history. They just put up points, but they dug themselves in such a deep hole they can't get out of it. So.
Yeah, and that defense is horrendous, and I think Cincinnati would be smart, kind of cleaning house coaching staff wise.
Yep.
Starting with Zach Taylor. I mean, it's been a couple years since they've been good, so.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets another year, but the staff around him, revamp.
Definitely.
So, well, let's pick some games for Week 16. Thursday night, Denver Broncos at LA Chargers. Chargers won the first matchup between these two to start the year. This was not supposed to be a Thursday night game. Got flexed a couple weeks ago.
This will be the J-Man's bucket prediction of the week. The Denver Broncos will clinch a playoff spot for the first time.
I hate you.
Since 2006. All they need is the Colts to lose, and the Colts are terrible. I know they play the Titans this week, but I think that's all they need. Is that all they need?
The Colts, the Dolphins, and the Bengals are all right there, so I don't know.
Yeah, but the Chargers are but anyway, the Denver Broncos will win this week, and I have 5 confidence points on them. J-Man's
4.
But you are, of course, you're going to pick them. I should know you better than that. Let's see here. Let's see if I can pull up the read. Here we go. J-Man's Book and Prediction of the Week is brought to you by Travis Watchering Insurance Agency for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis 219-869-4561.
Got another AFC West team in action as the Houston Texans travel to play the Kansas City Chiefs.
Saturday football has started. I love Saturday NFL games.
And you're going to have Saturday college football playoff game. It's going to be great Saturday.
Beautiful weekend. I don't think Houston's that great.
I don't either.
CJ Stroud was just yesterday.
He's been the whole year. My fantasy teams look.
Yeah. their defense is good. They force a lot of turnovers. They get a lot of sacks, which could, especially with Mahomes having a bum ankle, could pose some issues, but give me the Chiefs for 13.
I got the Chiefs for 8.
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh at Baltimore. That should be a good one. Saturday afternoon at 4:30.
Give me Baltimore for 12. This is always kind of an AFC North.
You are anti.
You believe in the Steelers. I don't think they can score enough points in Baltimore.
Well, Watt is hurt now too. So
yeah. Give me Baltimore for 12.
I got Baltimore, but for 3. I mean, I think they'll win, but I'm not as confident. Like when it comes to these divisional games, I'm scared to put too many points on them. So, New York Giants at Atlanta Falcons.
Giants are pathetic, and Daboll's going to be gone, should be gone. Their GM should be gone. Their owner needs to sell probably, and they need to new everything there. I don't think the Falcons are any good either. They do play tonight, and if they lose to Vegas, man, it could be start to get real ugly there. Give me Atlanta for 11, though.
I got Atlanta for 12. I'm right there with you with everything you said. Detroit at Chicago. This game was a tight one on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes, it was. However, the Bears have clearly given up.
Yeah.
It felt like they would, have a little spark with them firing Eberflus, but they got whooped in San Fran their last game. So give me the Lions for 15.
I got the Lions for 11. It's interesting when you talk about Caleb Williams. I don't agree with players saying who they're not going to play for and whatsoever, but I could understand more times than not, number 1 overall picks at least thinking about doing so. Yeah. Because now he's in a situation going in his second year. He's going to be on his second head coach and his third offensive coordinator.
Yeah. It's bad.
It's not good. Not good.
It's bad.
Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals.
Give me the Bengals for 10.
I got the Bengals for 14. I think that, like I said, they're putting up points, and the Browns are not good. We both called that. Everybody was predicting the Browns to make the playoffs again this year.
Yeah, I didn't buy it. They were better with Joe Flacco than they were Deshaun Watson last year, and he was no longer there, so I just didn't buy it.
Yep. Tennessee Titans at the Indianapolis Colts.
Give me the Colts for 9.
I got the Colts for 13.
Yeah.
I don't think the Titans go into Lucas Oil and win. LA Rams at the New York Jets.
Jets did get a win yesterday. I picked them to win. Very lucky win against Mac Jones and the boys. Rams are playing some really good football. They've been one of the hottest teams in the NFL here the past 5 or 6 weeks. So give me the Rams for 4.
I got the Rams for 7. I agree. They're fun to watch when they're clicking. Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Commanders.
Commanders awfully fortunate not to lose to a backup quarterbacks yesterday.
Yeah, they were.
And I just don't think they're that great either. Give me Philadelphia for 8.
I got Philadelphia for 5. Washington started the year off hot, but they've come back down to earth. Arizona Cardinals at Carolina Panthers.
Same with the Cardinals. They were kind of the team, and I mean, they won yesterday, but they haven't looked that great here recently. Give me the Cardinals for 2.
Got the Cardinals for 6. Minnesota Vikings at Seattle Seahawks. I think Sam Darnold's going to end up getting paid by somebody. I can't figure out who it's going to be.
Yeah. And I think that money will be ill-advised, too.
No, I do, too.
Yeah. Give me Seattle for 7.
I'm going Minnesota for 10.
I need to stop picking against Minnesota because they keep winning, but I just don't. They're the NFC equivalent to the Steelers in my mind.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I'm assuming Geno's not going to play for Seattle. I don't know.
Oh, that's right. He did get hurt.
No idea.
Sam Howell stinks too.
Yeah, Geno's not that good either.
No.
But, New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills.
Bills for 16.
Bills for 16. I heard rumors today that if Johnson from the Lions has interest to go into New England, that New England might consider pulling the plug on Mayo after a year.
One and done, huh? Mayo's been a New England guy forever.
I know. I'm like, will Kraft do that? I don't know.
Yeah, man, I'd be tempted if I was the Dolphins to go hire Ben Johnson too. He was an assistant for the Dolphins from like 2011 through 18, I think. But man, he's got a fun offense there in Detroit.
Yeah, he's gonna have his pick of jobs, and in New England, like from the outside looking in, it's like, well, does he want to take that over? That they look bad. Well, they got a young quarterback, Drake May.
Look pretty good too,
and they have tons of cap, tons of spending money. So,
yeah. That is the good thing about Bill Belichick never spending money in free agency is you have an insane amount of cap. But, of course, New England doesn't have the same pull it did 5 years ago even.
He'll be spending that money at UNC now. So
Yeah,
weird. Weird.
That is weird.
So weird. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, that's a fun
I'll be
one.
tuning into this one only because they're the home team. I'm taking Vegas for 1.
I'm taking Jags for 2 just because I don't like the Raiders. I was like, I don't know who to pick.
That's
in
a
this
good
one.
enough.
They're both
That's honestly a good enough reason to pick that game.
this is bragging rights in your family. San Francisco at Miami.
Probably 2 of the top 4 most disappointing teams in the NFL this year. Would you say?
Yeah. Both have been injured, though. I mean, you do have to take that into consideration.
Couldn't care less. I do think if Tua stays healthy for the entire 17, we're sitting here probably 8 and how many games they played?
Yeah.
8
They've
and
played
6, 9 and 5. Maybe.
Yeah, they played 14 games so far.
I would say they beat Tennessee and they beat Indianapolis. They beat Indianapolis for sure because they almost won with Tim Boyle at the end. So,
hey, I saw Boyle came in for the Giants yesterday.
Somehow that son of a gun keeps getting time in the end. I don't get it. He was the worst quarterback in the history of Division I athletics. And he's a terrible.
He was not either.
He threw 1 touchdown and 13 interceptions for UConn in his career. He is the only quarterback in the history of the NFL. In the 10 games he's taken a snap, his team's lost every single one. Now it's 11. So he's 0-11. Not even as a starter. Just he came in even. I don't get it. Anyway, with that being said, I think the Dolphins, both teams really can say this. Where are they going to be mentally? Because now it's like probably not going to make playoffs. Both have been injured. I'm taking the Niners for 3, though. I think they're better, and I think Shanahan will get the best of his buddy.
I'll take Dolphins for 1 because they're at home. So
and they are pretty good at home, but again, I don't know where they'll be in their headspace.
I am so sick of the Cowboys. Tampa Bay at Dallas Sunday Night Football.
I got Tampa Bay for 6.
I got Tampa for 9.
Yeah, I could see Dallas winning that one because they've been playing pretty good. And honestly, Cooper Rush is a pretty solid backup.
Yeah, he is.
But yeah, I think Tampa Bay will score too much.
And New Orleans at Green Bay on Monday Night Football.
Green Bay for 14.
I got Green Bay for 15. Yeah, Saints with their backup quarterbacks now Kamara's hurt. They just can't get it done. Interim head coach is just a mess.
Yeah, it's ugly.
Just a mess.
It's ugly. Before we go any further, do you want to get educated?
Yeah, I do. You can always use it.
Let's see if this actually pulls up for me. You might have to take over because it's not wanting to load for me on my computer anyway. Yeah, it's not loading.
So. I got it. All right. You want to get educated.
I do.
All right. Let's see what we got here. A lot of cricket. Here's a good one. Wait, what in the heck? I think, okay, they abbreviated it. Okay, I got it. On this day, 1929, Chicago Blackhawks' first game at Chicago Stadium took place. They beat They beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-1. I don't know.
Pirates fielded a hockey squad that year.
No idea. On this day.com. No idea. On this day, 1945, the National Football League championship game was played in Cleveland Stadium as the Cleveland Rams beat the Washington Redskins 15-14. Last game before the Rams moved west to L.A. On this day, 1972, the Miami Dolphins became the first undefeated NFL team with a record of 14-0. On this day, 1973, O.J. Simpson became the first NFL running back to rush for 2,000 yards in a season.
The man of multiple hats.
That's a good way to put it. On this day, 1979, Roger Staubach threw 3 touchdowns and 336 yards in his last NFL regular season game with the Cowboys in a 35-34 win over the Washington Redskins.
They didn't really throw for over 300 back then either.
Oh. On this day, 1983, Yogi Berra was named the New York Yankees manager for the second time. On this day in 1991, the MLB expansion club, the Florida Marlins, signed their first player in 16-year-old pitcher Clemente Nunez.
Never heard of him.
Me
I
neither.
don't think. I assume we never got to the show. Here we are, 33 years later, 34 years later, and they've somehow won 2 World Series and averaged less than 10,000 fans.
Yep. On this day in 2013, who won the 79th Heisman Trophy Award?
13? 2013. I don't know.
Jameis Winston, Florida State.
Son of a gun.
And on this day in 2019, Drew Brees broke Peyton Manning's NFL record for career touchdown passes, 539, as the Saints beat the Colts 34-7. Brees went 29 of 30 for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns for record 96.7 pass completion.
Man.
I remember watching that game. I think it was a Sunday nighter, and he just lit them up. Colts were bad that year.
29 for 30.
I don't care who you're playing. I don't care if you're playing a Pee Wee team.
Yeah.
Pee Wee football team. That's a good game. So that'll do it for the On This Day segment, which is brought to you by, like it is every week, Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of Texas with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs that fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by visiting them on Instagram and on Facebook at Mooney Woodcrafts is their handle on those 2 platforms. And if you let them know the Tan and J-Man Show sent you, you get 15% off your first sign order. So get your sign orders in for 2025. It's definitely not too early.
Got some baseball news here I want to hit on a little bit. We talked about Juan Soto last week, signing that absurd deal. The Cubs somehow did something. Jed obviously feeling the heat from me on Twitter. And he goes out. I was saying it all week. Please trade today. Hope today is the day, or what? I don't even remember what I was tweeting. I would very much like you to trade for Kyle Tucker today, tonight, whatever. And they did it on Friday. They got the deal done. Old Jedward got the deal done. Kyle Tucker, right fielder, left-handed hitter, is a legitimate superstar level hitter. He has been a top 10 hitter in baseball each of the last 4 seasons. And he had an injury this year. We only played half the games, and he still had an OPS nearing 1,000. So you add a guy like him to the lineup that they haven't had in a long time. So I'm very, very excited that they actually Jed got out of his comfort zone. You know, he traded Isaac Paredes, who was their projected third baseman to start the season next year. Cam Smith, who was their first-round pick this past year, and Hayden Wesneski, who would have been some bullpen and starter depth. So the haul was pretty good for the Astros, especially since Tucker only had 1 more year of team control before he's a free agent. And he'll be likely a $300-400 million player come this upcoming offseason next year. But they're going all in for 25. I'm sure Jed feels like he has to make the playoffs. And they're so far they've been active, and it's been very refreshing after the past couple off seasons where Jed has just been so risk averse, taking no risks at all. And this is a pretty big risk, especially given the fact that he probably won't sign with the Cubs, honestly, unless Tom Ricketts really opens up that checkbook. Now, obviously, Kyle Tucker could have an incredible year, and we need to keep this guy no matter what. But that remains to be seen, obviously. But you can slot him in there as your number 3 hitter. Cody Bellinger is still there for the time being. They're trying to get rid of his contract, and it sounds like it's kind of Yankees or bust as far as a trade goes with Cody Bellinger. But as of right now, he's still on the team. And, so hopefully this is a sign of things to come this offseason, because this is why you build prospect depth, is to trade them for legitimate major leaguers, established major leaguers. So feel pretty good about the Cubs offseason so far, and we're only about a quarter of the way in, third of the way in. So
rare positive Cub comments in the month of December.
Very
not
rare.
Used to this. Not used to this at all.
It was shocking. Not shocking that it happened, because all week we were hearing Cubs were making progress on a deal with the Houston Astros, making progress, and it just felt like one of those inevitable things that it was eventually going to happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just sitting here like we've seen Jed just not be able to go above and beyond his comfort level, and finally he did. Thumbs up.
Well, we'll get to pick six real quick before we talk some Big Ten hoops and then Heisman and college football playoff to round out this episode, starting with Michael Vick.
Yeah, I saw he's been mentioned as a coaching candidate for a couple FCS schools. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Sacramento State was one.
Sacramento State and I think Nickel State was the other one.
Interesting. What's he doing now? Is he a coach anywhere, or is he just?
I do not know. I just saw he's interviewing for some jobs. I'm like, man, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah, he must obviously still be around football. Maybe he runs camps or whatever.
That could be.
Um,
Heck of an athlete, but
yeah,
not condone what he did off field. So.
That is interesting. And I hope it. I mean, it's starting to feel sometimes like, well, Deion Sanders has been a success story. Let's try somebody else, and Deion could just be an aberration.
Because Ray Lewis was in talks with Florida A&M. I think
something
it was
like that. Yeah.
I don't know if it went. I don't think it went. I think Florida A&M ended up hiring somebody else, but yeah, we're starting to see a lot of these NFL legends at least get interviews. So
yeah,
kind of interesting. Dave Clawson, Wake Forest.
What happened with him? Did he get fired today?
He resigned today.
Interesting.
He's going to become an advisor. I don't know if he was forced out or what the deal was because the timing's really weird.
Yeah, it could be. I don't want to go through this transfer portal and NIL crap anymore. I think we're going to see some coaches start doing this.
Oh, the portal's just
so, especially with the timing of it. I mean, we saw it push Jay Wright out and Roy Williams and Coach K. And I mean, I know those were older guys. Jay Wright wasn't, though. Tony Bennett, right before the season this year, he decided in college basketball. So I think we're going to see it's going to wear. I mean, it was already an incredibly stressful job being a head football coach at a big time Power Four.
Yep.
I mean, it's not a big time school, but it's a Power Four football program.
Right.
And now you add just so many more elements to it. And I think we're going to start seeing that more and more of the older guard wanting to get out.
Yeah, I mean, he's 57 years old, but he's been a head coach 25 of the last 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's been at Wake Forest for a little over a decade. He led them to 7 of their 17 bowl games in school history, including 5 of the school's 11 total bowl wins. He did a pretty good job there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a tough place to win football-wise.
Very. Even basketball's tough to win anymore. Rick Barnes.
Oh, yeah. Very good basketball coach. He'll always have very tough, hard-nosed defensive teams. And, nothing but respect for the guy, honestly.
Yep. Let's see who else we got here. Mike Woodson.
That seat's got to be getting a little warm on his behind.
Oh, I think so.
I mean, we were actually playing college football 25 on Friday during the game, and I was kind of checking the score every once in a while. And I think I told you it was like, all right, 68-67, Nebraska's winning. Next time I checked the score, there was like 30 seconds left, and it was like 84-68. Nebraska just blew them out. His old school 2 big men doesn't work. It's not working. They gave up nearly 2 points per possession when the 2 big guys were in there at the same time on Friday. His guards haven't been as good as advertised coming into the year. And honestly, I'm very happy that they did not hire Dusty May because Dusty's looking pretty dang good at Michigan so far.
Yep. I mean, and I know I'm very lucky as a Purdue fan to have 2 head coaches over the span of 45 years. Matt Painter's in his 20th season. But I think back in those 20 years, Indiana's on their 5th head coach right now.
Yeah.
Could be on 6th soon. I mean, I'm going to get some heat for saying this, but can we call them a blue blood if you're getting a new head coach every 4 to 5 years?
Yeah. They haven't won anything in almost 40 years now.
I know.
Their blue blood status should no longer be. I've been very hard on Indiana this year, and I get called out for it.
They got a ton of talent.
And I think a lot of IU fans would agree with me basketball-wise that obviously Woody's not the dude. And obviously they could turn around. There's a lot of season left. But after the way last season played out, I honestly, even going back to when he was hired, it didn't feel like a very a hire that would, strike fear in a lot of other coaches. And it felt like they could have done a lot better. But maybe it's not as well thought of as a job as it used to be. And I know they still have that pipe dream, Brad Stevens. Well, he got out of college basketball because he didn't like to recruit, and this was 2012,
Yeah.
2013. It's completely different now. And again, we're seeing guys resign. Tony Bennett,
Yep.
for one.
Yep. Yep.
I can't imagine Brad Stevens happens, and I don't even know who could be a possible candidate. Not Eric Musselman, Nate Oates, maybe. Honestly, don't know. Do not know.
Yeah. How about I'm gonna butcher this guy's name. Bo Prabula, I believe is how you pronounce his last name.
The Penn State backup.
Yes.
Again, with the timing of the portal, he's quitting on his team.
Yeah.
As they're getting ready to play, and he has 19 touchdowns for him. He's kind of a change of pace.
Yeah, he's the
running guy,
Yeah.
Quarterback, and now he's entering the portal and kind of quitting on his team. Now we've seen guys enter the portal, but they're going to stick with their team through the playoff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a bad look on his part, but maybe he has some deals out there. Who knows what's going on?
Yeah, because that window closes very soon.
12 days, window. I think I saw 11 or 12 days. So again, 19 touchdowns in his career, and obviously that he knew Drew Aller was coming back.
Yep, he was announced today he's coming back.
Which I don't really know where he'd end up if he wasn't coming back to Penn State. I don't know.
College somebody would have paid. Somebody would have paid
or something like that.
Somebody would have paid big money for him.
I think it was mainly an NFL draft thing. I don't see that.
No,
but yeah.
And lastly, here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Is he back?
Waived today by the Chiefs.
Waived? Yeah. Pacheco had jumped him, and then they brought Kareem Hunt back, and he's had some good time with him. Saved my fantasy team there for a little bit when I had some injuries. But he was a first-round pick. That's why you don't take running backs in the first round. You don't see Bijan Robinson even playing that well for the Falcons, and they took him in the top 10. So I think the days of seeing stud running backs, I know Ashton Gianti right now on ESPN, I think is their number 4 overall player draft-wise. I still have a hard time because he's carried the ball 350 times this year, I bet. And, you might get 4 or 5 good years out of him. But,
I would still love to see the Denver Broncos do whatever they can to get him because they need a new running back. Their running game is putrid. They've tried so many running backs, 5 different running backs this year, and nothing's working.
A good running back's still a weapon. You see what Derrick Henry's doing at 30-something. Right. Saquon Barkley's had a great year.
Derrick Henry's not human. The way that guy's built. Yeah. But you're right. Saquon,
right. Derrick Henry, but still you're not seeing those elite guys. McCaffrey's hurt all the time now.
Yep.
Devon Achant's had a great year, mainly because he's catching the ball out of the backfield. I think he has 60, 65 catches so far this year.
Yep.
That's kind of the newer aged running back. You don't see those workhorses anymore.
Nope.
Unfortunately.
And that's a Pick 6 segment brought to you by Performer Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting in 2025, Performer Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs, so you need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815.
I think we'd both be very okay if we skipped college basketball talk this week and went straight to the college football playoff.
Yeah, tough losses for both of our teams in different ways.
Good Lord, yeah.
I've told Purdue fans and not to panic when they lost 3 or 4 games in the non-conference. Purdue fans, a lot of them are panicking. I'm like, I'm already expecting another loss here to Auburn this week.
Auburn's the best team in the country.
Yes, Auburn is ridiculous. Yeah. It's a neutral game down in Birmingham. You know
Illinois played one of those.
Yeah, you know how that is. Yeah. They'll play it next year in Indianapolis in the Indy Classic. But A&M out tough Purdue the other day. They looked like grown men compared to them, especially on the glass. And Purdue just got to have guys step up. They cannot rely on the 3-headed monster at all times. Mm-hmm. They're not all 3 going to click every game.
Yeah.
Other guys have to step up. Just wasn't happening. Couldn't make open shots. Turned it over a bunch, but so did A&M. They turned it over a bunch too. Good win for A&M and a very pro Purdue crowd, but frustrating loss. Like I said, I'm chalking up the Auburn loss, and then hopefully Toledo's a win. They go into Big Ten play with 4 losses. I still think there'll be a factor in the Big Ten, but the Big Ten the top is pretty darn even.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, I agree. I think Oregon's probably been maybe the most consistently good team up there, and I don't really know who they've played
I
so
still
far.
think they get a wake up call in Big Ten play though.
Probably do. Yeah, I mean, Michigan's look good. Illinois had their moments. Michigan State looks halfway decent. Obviously,
Wisconsin's had their moments.
Good. Wisconsin's had their moments. Yeah, I'm the exact same way though. I'm like, there's gonna be growing pains for Illinois the first 10, 12, 15 games even, and here we are, 2-point loss to the number one team in the country. And I'm sitting here like,
yeah, there's nothing to be mad about. They literally hit a buzzer beater. I mean,
yeah, and it was a missed opportunity more than it was crap. We lost, so it stunk. But again, I mean, you look at their losses. The Northwestern one stings, but I think they're okay. As much as it pains me to say, you lose to Alabama, who's number 2 at the time, whatever, and then number 1 Tennessee by 2.
Yeah.
How
nervous to make it for Missouri though?
Incredibly so. I hate that game anyway. It's my least favorite game of the season of any of my teams.
You have punched walls, pillars.
I have embarrassingly punched pillars and thrown stuff and yelled, and I've calmed down significantly really since my kid was born.
It's amazing what fatherhood can do to you.
It is. I mean, I watched that game in the middle of a 4-year-old's birthday party on Saturday, and it was it wasn't great, but I think that was like the first time I remember Illinois actually losing on a legit buzzer beater as time expired, and it didn't feel as bad as I thought it would. And
it's
honestly,
been there like 3 times a couple years ago.
Yeah, I can't imagine the half quarter that Ron Harper Jr. hit. I just can't even fathom that. But the only silver lining is I'm glad Yakachonis missed the first free throw, so they weren't up 1 when it happened. Instead of it was just a tie game, because they're probably going to lose. The problem is you get to overtime and Ziegler fouled out. You have their leading scorer fouled out as well. You might have a chance, but Tennessee's tough. They're tough, they are. Physical, old too.
They are.
So
whatever. Old. Yeah, right there, old.
And the worst part is they have to wait. They had to wait 8 days until they play again. I wish they played like Chicago State on Wednesday.
Yeah, just to
get something out of your system, win by 70 and.
That's what my dad and I were talking about because, I mean, Purdue hasn't lost back-to-back games since the 21-22 season.
Yeah.
Regular season back-to-back games, sorry. They lost Big Ten and then NCAA tournament a couple times. But we were talking, we wish they didn't have Auburn this week. We wish it was somebody a little easier just to get the confidence back up after a loss like that. But
I mean, but at the same time, you're not going to get any downtime when it comes to Big Ten play. So I guess you got to get used to it.
Yep. But we're starting to wrap things up here. But Travis Hunter won the Heisman.
Yeah.
Like we both thought he would. The first two-way player since Charles Woodson won it in 1997. As much as I dislike Colorado, he's a dude. He can ball.
Yeah. And I mean, I was on the Jonty, bandwagon the entire year. I wanted him to win mainly. And it's honestly probably just because of my dislike for the Sanders that I didn't want Travis Hunter to win, but he won for very good reason. He's a very good cornerback, very good wide receiver, and deserving for sure. Even though I think Ashton Jonty, it was a very tight race too, looking at the voting. He deserved it. He'll be a top 10 pick or so, probably as cornerback. I don't think he'll play both ways when it comes to the NFL. I think they'll want him kind of specialize in one of them. It'll probably be cornerback, but that was the first time in a while. Actually, I guess I haven't watched the Heisman ceremony in a while, but I completely forgot about it. And then I looked at my phone. Oh, Travis Hunter won the Heisman.
It's weird how I view the Heisman. I still think it's the most famous individual award in sports, but I also think it's a very overrated award.
Yeah, it's a popularity contest sometimes too. And who has the momentum heading into that, heading into the voting. Because, again, like last year we saw Jaden Daniels do it, and he lit up the FCS and the low, non-power 4 schools, group of 5 schools, but he was very bad or mediocre against power 4 opponents, and he kind of stat padded against the bad schools. Hunter's legit, though. I have no problem with it.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got a handful of CFP games this weekend, starting with Friday night in South Bend, Indiana. Number 8 seeded Indiana. Oh, no, that's rankings. That's not seeding, but it's number 10 seeded 10 seed in Indiana versus number 7 seed Notre Dame, who's a 7-point favorite. Forecast is showing some snow.
Nice. I love snow games. Give me Notre Dame by 14. I think Indiana hangs in there for a little bit.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame by about 17, especially if it snows and the game becomes on the ground. I think that's big time advantage Notre Dame. Now, if Indiana is able to air it out, it's more of a closer contest there.
Mhm.
But I'm dreading it. Telling myself I'm not going to watch it, but I'll probably tune in for a little bit of it. Yeah, probably. But man, I never thought I'd have to talk about this scenario in my life. But here we are.
Especially this year, we didn't think we'd have to talk about Indiana being in it. But.
Well, in the winter, there's a good chance the winner's going to get Georgia with Carson Beck out.
Yeah,
good chance. So I don't know, or if he plays, he's got to be banged up. So. Saturday got SMU at Penn State, who is an 8.5-point favorite. This is a nooner Saturday.
Give me Penn State. I think they handle it fairly easily too.
I think Penn State wins as well. Clemson at Texas, 4:00 on Saturday. Texas is an 11.5-point favorite.
I think Texas covers. I just don't think Clemson can score enough points.
Yep. I think Texas and Georgia, and I just mentioned Carson Beck, they're the two teams that are better suited than all the other 12 for their quarterback to be able to go down and still win ball games.
Yeah.
So I like Texas in that one as well. And then the night game at 8:00 Saturday, Tennessee at Ohio State, who's a 7-point favorite.
Give me Ohio State, freshman quarterback going into the big house under the lights. This is like the first under the lights game in Ohio State in a while because they're always getting the big nooners on Fox, and I'm sure Ohio State fans are very happy they're actually under the lights. If Ryan Day loses this one, though, I think the convo gets a little louder.
I do too. I don't know if they would actually pull the trigger, but
yeah,
I think there's a big conversation, and if not, his seat is flaming.
Definitely
going into next year, which is still crazy, but it's a crazy fan base, a crazy program. So I'm taking Ohio State as well. I think they come out ticked off.
They should.
Man, you can't get much more arrogant fan bases than those two. Holy
Oh,
smokes.
man, yeah. At least Ohio State's won something here the past 30 years.
True, but looking forward to this 12-team playoff for sure. And I could care less about the rest of the bowls. I used to love bowl season.
Yeah.
Now I care less.
Yeah. I do wish the quarterfinal games were on campus because that would be cool seeing like a Penn State at Boise. And I think it even hurts a little bit the teams that get the byes not being able to play a game at home.
I agree.
So maybe they'll start doing that.
Get a bye. Yes, they have another week to heal, but now you're talking 2 or 3, or in most cases 3 weeks. You haven't played a game.
I know. Yeah, I don't think it helps them at all.
Yeah.
I wish they weren't neutral because, again, as I said, I think it'd be cool to see some of those teams playing at a Boise State or wherever. But.
Yeah, because even when it comes to the Indiana Notre Dame game, I get we're used to cold weather in the Midwest, but a lot of these kids still have not played a football game on December 20th in their life.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Different than playing in November. So.
Yeah. So, any more thoughts?
No, it's going to be a fun sports weekend. Got a lot of good college basketball non-conference games going on. Got NFL Saturday and Sunday, and like I said, college football playoff Saturday. So good day to kick back and relax if you got all your Christmas shopping done.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited. We haven't had a free weekend in a long time, it feels like. So I'm going to be watching a lot of sports. So there are 5 active franchises without a 13-win season.
Yeah, this is unbelievably tough for me to think. I don't remember this team ever winning 13. I'm going with the Jaguars.
Incorrect.
God dang it!
Bortles had a 13-win season when they should have made the Super Bowl.
They went 12-4 that year.
13-3.
Wow. I'm just gonna throw some. I'll take the bogey, but I'm throwing some others out there. Texans.
Texans are one of them.
All right. I've never seen it in my lifetime. I'm sure they have, but the Commanders?
Yep, they have.
Just give me the other 4.
Cleveland Browns.
That makes sense. That was pretty dumb. I didn't start with them.
Houston Texans.
Okay.
Cincinnati Bengals.
I wouldn't have guessed that. I figured they got there.
New York Jets.
That's shocking.
Yeah. And the Lions had 12 wins entering yesterday.
Oh,
on the season.
yeah.
They were one of them that had never done
Yeah,
it. So,
Lions and Browns are probably 2 I should have got, but no,
yeah.
there's no chance I would have got the rest. So,
Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man show. I will be out for the holiday
yes.
next week, so have a fantastic Christmas.
Yes, Merry
Everybody.
Christmas, J-Man.
Tanner will be here with a very special guest, I'm sure, that's much smarter than I. So have a fantastic week.